Wrekin Housing Group, 13,000 homes across the whole of Shropshire, providing accommodation for 26,000 people. So that's a lot of homes producing a lot of carbon. I've got a big task ahead, which is by 2050, I've got to reduce our carbon production from 24 kilotons down to 2.4 kilotons. Now that's a 90% reduction. But we've got to come up with innovative solutions that work for both the tenants who live in our properties and also us, and the skills we've got across Shropshire to be able to deliver these innovations. So what we're looking at doing, we've tried many things. We've tried ground source heat pumps. We've also tried above ground heat source pumps across our stock that's working, and tenants seem to understand how they work. The more innovative approaches we've taken is we've built our first 4 passive houses. What does that mean? These are properties that require little to no heating to be able to live in there and produce the heat and the hot water needed for people to live in there.
Passive houses are 90% more efficient than traditional houses and are much lower in terms of living costs for the household. There are various mechanisms for building a passive house. You can build a passive house in a traditional form, timber frame. On this particular scheme that we did, we actually involved a number of apprentices, and they were essentially built around timber cassettes. The cassettes are built off-site, then brought to site and erected that way. The most important element of a passive house is its thermal envelope. So how you get there isn't necessarily that important, but it is that thermal envelope. But in terms of living in that property, you get much better air quality, much lower household bills than you would ordinarily get. But in terms of living in it, it's much similar to living in a traditional house in terms of how you operate your heating systems or things that you can have on the wall, and they very much look the same.
So when I moved in, they did tell me it was a passive house, and I didn't know what that was, so I did Google it because I was like, oh, what is that? But being a passive house, it's really good. It's just cheaper on my gas and electric. Like, I'm in credit with my gas and electric, which is amazing. And it's just, I don't have to put the highest I've had my heating on in December was probably about 21 degrees. It's just warm all through the house. So it is really nice. Before, I was living in a house paying a metre, and I was paying £50 a month, if not a little bit more, and I was still in a little bit debt when I left. Like now I'm paying £30 a month, and I'm in credit, £105, so it's a lot better, a lot cheaper. I definitely recommend it. Yeah, they're just amazing. Like, they're cheaper in the long run. Like, my sister, she says to me, she says, oh, my gas and electric's so expensive this month, and I'm like, oh, mine isn't.
We're also looking at battery storage because we can use PV and solar on roofs that's been there for years, but how do you harness that and store it ready for when you need it in your property? Well, that's where we use battery storage on the top, and again, we're trying that out. We're trying to retrofit our existing stock to reduce the carbon footprint.
We're battery power specialists, so we manufacture battery packs but also provide energy storage systems with the full kit, the solar panels, inverter and battery, to housing associations. What we do is install this into the tenant's home. The tenants can receive around about a 70% saving on their bill, and I think with Mr Cook's property here, his overall last 3 months has saved 79% on his bills.
I got a letter off a guy at Wrekin Housing called Clive Goodfellow. Would you be interested in having solar panels on your roof? So I rang him up right away, found out how they work and what they do. I thought they'd cut my electric bills down. So I rang him up, I said I'm very, very interested. The benefit for me has mostly been on my electric bill. I'm saving probably about 75%. If I go back on that, I can go back to December, January, when I was paying sort of 25, 28, 30 quid. This month I've paid £4.30 for last month. You download the app and then you can watch it doing whatever day or night it is. It tells you how much is coming off the panels through your inverter and then where it's sending it. Certainly having this add-on laptop, it gives me a lot of control over my electric.
Each tenant has their own app or a portal where they can log in and they can see everything that system is providing. So how much solar is being generated, how much is being consumed in the home, how much battery is being used. So everything is tracked, whether it's daily with graphs, whether it's monthly, whether it's yearly. So the energy storage technology is a simple technology to install, and that's why we've chosen our products and design our products in such a way. So this install would typically take around about a day and a half with maybe 2.5-man, 3-man team to install. So far, ASON, we've installed on 40 properties, and we've got another 39 properties to go. But the real key thing for this is it's a pilot scheme. What we want to show is Wrekin and other housing associations and councils is how our platform can benefit their tenants while also generating them a revenue to help reinvest in to meet their net zero carbon targets.
I'd recommend these to anybody. In fact, it's been at the back of my head that I think when they're building new houses now, you should install solar panels as part of the house. Get them fitted as soon as you can, and you'll start saving money.
What a sell. How would you feel if you was a customer and I was to turn up and say, right, the only way I can insulate your house is to reduce your living space by 600 mil on every wall. So you've got to get the customers to buy into what's the advantage to them. Well, the advantage to them is reduced heating bills, a reduced footprint on their energy use, which means that they're contributing to saving the planet. But let's face it, it's saving money in their pockets. That's the big thing for customers. So it's got to be simple for them to use, it's got to be easy for customers to understand, and above all else, we've got to go on that journey together. Our customers and us will only make this work if we work together. Innovation that works for the customer is simple for us to install and is simple to use. So we're also growing as an organisation, and I said 13,000, will be 16,500 by 2025. And in our new build, the difficulty there is to ensure that it's fabric first, insulate them well, make sure that we're up to date with use of heating and ways of heating water in those properties. So that's still a challenge for us, both in new and old.
Fabric First is looking at the envelope of the building, so it's looking at all your insulation values internally, externally, the type of windows and doors that you use. And what we're doing is we've implemented from April 2021, we're looking at the insulation values of the Future Home Standards 2025, so we're looking to implement those values now. We're currently trialling 2 schemes. We're looking at a brand new specification for those schemes, and essentially that scheme, it will provide EPC A rating, which is the highest EPC rating that you can get, and subject to that being successful, we'll then look to roll that out across our entire development programme going forward.
We're not going to do that alone. The challenge cannot be done by Wrekin Housing Group alone. We've got to rely on a mix between the built environment and the environment around us to make this work, using technologies that people understand, and actually a call to the government to actually start to fund some of this innovation and technology going on in our properties. Because again, only if we all come together using what we're trying, only then can we reduce our carbon footprint and make a head steam towards zero carbon by 2050.